Welcome back. In this lecture and the next one, we will be spending some time in reviewing some parts of linear algebra that are very much used, especially in linear theory and even in qualitative theory of nonlinear differential equation. Let me make one point clear, that this is not a course in linear algebra. Our main aim in these two lectures is to give an explanation for exponential of a matrix and some estimates involving matrix norms. Okay. So, let me just begin with some notation and what we are going to do. So, let A be a n by n real matrix. So, that means all the entries of A are real numbers. Okay. The space of all n by n real matrix is denoted by Mn R. Okay. So, soon we are going to put a metric on this thing, this space Mn R. So, so let us begin with the definition of Euclidean metric on Rn. So, this Rn we know this. So, this is the space of all n tuples xn. So, xj in R. So, the Euclidean law norm x. So, let define in terms of its square. So, this is nothing but xn square. Okay. So, the Euclidean law. So, this immediately gives rise to a metric in Rn, a metric in Rn. So, d of x y is nothing but x y. So, x and y are in Rn. Okay. So, you can easily check the following properties. The first one, norm of x is bigger than or equal to 0 and equal to 0 if and only if x is 0 vector. So, this is 0 vector in Rn. So, 0 is the n tuple consisting of all zeros. Okay. And alpha x mod alpha norm x. So, do not get confused with because I am using just single line. Okay. So, that is do not get confused with that thing. So, this is all alpha in R and x in Rn. Okay. Just get used to this notation. So, soon we are going to use the same notation even for matrix. So, the third one, this important property called triangle inequality. And this in turn these three properties in turn they prove that D is a metric in Rn. Not only that, Rn with this Euclidean metric coming from the Euclidean norm is a complete metric space. That is, every Cauchy sequence in Rn converges. Okay, so that's and now this Euclidean metric induces a norm in MNR. So, let you start with a n by n real matrix and define again I am saying norm of A. This is supremum of Ax x in Rn and norm x equal to 1. Okay. So, this is well defined, this is a vector in Rn. So, I am taking the Euclidean norm and now I am taking supremum over all x subject to this norm x is equal to 1. Okay. So, that is so you can easily check. So, check norm of A is also equal to supremum of x not 0 and this is also supremum Ax norm x less than or equal to 1. Okay. So, moreover you can also check that. So, if A is the matrix with entries Aij, Aij are real. So, 1 less than or equal to Ij less than or equal to 1 n. So, Aij are the entries, then norm A square is less than or equal to Aij square, Ij equal to 1 to n. This is not very difficult to see that, and this one, the right hand side is called the Frobenius norm and usually denoted by AF square. Okay. So, this is Frobenius norm. So, it is different from this norm, okay, but it is this norm satisfies this inequality. Okay, that is so it is a finite number. So, for any matrix A and we have this inequality. So, that is no problem regarding the finiteness of norm A. So, this is norm A, norm of A, the matrix, norm of the matrix A. And just like in the previous case, so you have can easily verify the following properties. So, again the first one. So, this A is norm A is greater than or equal to 0 and equal to 0 if and only if A is the 0 matrix. Okay. So, this is true for all A in M n R. Okay. And second one is again that homogeneity. So, if I multiply the matrix by a real number, I take the matrix. So, this is so for all alpha in real numbers and A in M n R. So, a real n by n matrix. And third one again triangle inequality. So, if I have two matrices A and B, so A plus B is also in M n R and this is so for all A B in M n R. So, you already know that M n R itself is a vector space over the real numbers. Okay, any so, it is more than that. So, we also have the concept of matrix multiplication. So, in case of vectors we did not have this. So, if A and B are two matrices, also have this product of those two matrices, that is again a matrix, and this is an important property of this matrix norm for all A B in M n. So, any this is definition, any norm, okay, norm is just on M n R who satisfies one to 4 above is called a matrix norm. Okay. So, norm by definition is just a usually these three things are included, and for matrices we have this special thing 4 and which we call it a matrix norm. Okay. So, this is only special for matrices or in general linear transformations. Okay. So, with this thing we can just use so this so M n now we can define so this matrix norm induces a metric in M n R. So, I have to define distance between two matrices and this is the definition. A minus B. So, for all A B in M n R. And using the fact that R n with Euclidean metric is a complete metric space, it is not difficult to show that M n R with this metric is a complete metric space. that is, again let me stress that every Cauchy sequence in MNR converges in MNR. Okay. So, let me just explain this fact little more. Okay. So, let A k be a sequence in MNR. That means, for each k equal to 1 etcetera, A k is a real n by n matrix. Okay. So, A k is called a Cauchy sequence. I am just writing a general definition. In any matrix space this is true. If D of A k A l, and this by definition, just look at here, this by definition is norm of A k minus A l tends to 0 as k l tends to infinity. Okay, that is a Cauchy sequence. So, what is a convergent sequence? Okay. We say A k, again another sequence in MNR converges to A in MNR if distance A k A, again let me say that this is just norm of matrix norm of A k minus A, and that goes to 0 as k tends to infinity. So, the completeness result says that every Cauchy sequence in MNR converges to a matrix in MNR. Okay. So, this fact we use to define the exponential of a matrix. Okay. So, exponential of A, this is in MNR. Okay. So, let you define these things. S k is equal to I plus A plus A square by 2 factorial etcetera sum A k by k factorial. So, k bigger than or equal to 1. Okay. So, I is the identity n by n identity matrix. So, which will have all ones in the diagonal and 0 elsewhere. Okay. So, this is a finite sum. So, each S k is a each S k each S k belongs to MNR for k equal to 1, 2 etcetera. Okay. We claim that the sequence X the sequence S k is a Cauchy sequence in Mn. Okay. So, if k is bigger than L, Sk minus Sl. So, let us compute this. So, this is I plus A plus A square by 2 factorial plus Ak by k factorial minus I plus A plus A square by 2 factorial Al by L factorial. So, up to L they get cancelled. So, we have just Al plus 1, nothing, there is no, this is just power Al plus 1 by L1 plus 1 factorial plus etcetera Ak by k factorial. So, therefore, Sk minus Sl. So, use properties 1 to 4. So, you get repeatedly but this is just the tail of the usual numerical exponential function. So, this is just let me write this Aj matrix norm is J equal to L plus 1 to k, okay, and this certainly goes to 0 as L k tends to infinity. Okay. So, therefore, Skj so therefore, Sk being a Cauchy sequence converges to some, and that is unique, S in MnR. Okay. And this S will be denoted by this limit S will be denoted by e to the a or exponential a and called exponential of a. Okay. So, that is the definition is certainly no problem. But the computation so the computation may be difficult. Okay. So, there is no absolutely no problem with the definition of the exponential of a matrix, and one of our main aim is how to simplify the computation of the exponential of a matrix and also matrix norm. Okay. So, it is very easy to now see. So, by the definition it is not very difficult. So, e to the a is also a matrix now. So, this is just less than or equal to e to the mod a. Okay. But this is quite crude and it does not bring in any special property of the matrix A. So, that is what we want to improve upon and obtain a better estimate on this matrix norm of exponential A. Okay. That is what we are going to do. Okay. So, before we proceed further, so let us make some observations. Okay. Observations. suppose, so this is first one, A, B are in MNR and are similar. That is, there is a non-singular matrix C in MNR. So, everything is in MNR. So, we are not going outside the real field. So, we are always in the real field such that C inverse A C is equal to B. Okay, so, we are repeatedly using this thing. So, just remember that. So, A and B n by n matrices are called similar if there is a non-singular matrix C in MNR such that C inverse AB is C. And let us see how their exponentials are related. Okay. So, you observe that. So, B square, let us compute B square. So, this is C inverse AC. So, in general the matrix multiplication is not commutative. So, you have to be bit careful, but it is associative. Okay. That is one good thing about matrix multiplication, it is associative. So, you just write like that, and now this is identity. So, what you get is just C inverse A square C. Okay. So, this is true for B square. So, by induction it is true for any k. So, what you can see that e to the b is C inverse e to the a C. So, that means if a and b are similar, exponential of a and exponential of b are also similar. Okay, that is what it says. And our main aim is try to find, given a matrix A, try to find a non-singular matrix C such that C inverse A is equal to B, and this is as simple as possible. Okay, as simple as possible, and this is a vague statement. So, let me make it, let me explain what simplicity we want. Okay. So, let us take one example. So, suppose C inverse A C is equal to B and B is diagonal. Okay. So, what does that mean? So, we are again using this concept again and again. So, this means B is some, let me write mu 1 mu n, and off diagonals are all 0. Okay. So, this is sometimes also written as diagonal mu 1 mu n. Okay. All mu j's are real numbers. Okay. And let us try to compute the exponential of b. Okay. That is again very easy. So, you just so it follows that e to the b is diagonal e to the mu 1 e to the very simple, because if you take powers of a diagonal matrix, you just get powers of the diagonal elements. So, once you add, you get back your exponential. Okay, that is very easy. Okay. So, unfortunately, this will not be the case all the time. So, what best one can do? Okay, that is the next question. Okay. So, second observation, suppose A can be written as a diagonal block matrix A1, A2, A1, A2 are square matrices, and this will see will be the case in many instances. Okay. And then just following this previous example, it is not hard to show that e to the A is simply e to the A1 and e to the A2. That is also very nice, and this easily extends to any number of block matrices. Okay. So, in general, if A is equal to A1, A2, AK 0, each AJ is a square matrix, then exponential of A is the block diagonal matrix e to the A1 etc. e to the A. Fine. Okay. And next thing again I would like to see is, again this is one of the observations. So, suppose again let me start with two block matrices. So, this A, so A1, A2 are square matrices, okay. Then now I come to the norm. So, this is less than or equal to maximum of A1, A2. So, this is straightforward to prove, and this will be so let me just sketch a proof of this thing. This is not very difficult. Okay. So, you let x belongs to Rn, okay, and you write x is equal to x1, x2, and x1, x2 corresponds to the order of A1 and A2. Okay. Let me not write everything in detail. So, you can just see that. So, then Ax is simply this Ax1 and Ax2, A1 x1, A2 x2. Okay. So, therefore, if you work out Ax is equal to Ax square equal to A1 x1 square plus A2 x2 square, and then you restrict to norm x equal to 1 and take the supremum, and immediately you see that this no problem maximum of A1 A2. Okay. So, this we use for the exponential in particular. So, in particular if A is equal to A1 A2 AK, then norm of exponential of A is less than or equal to maximum of e to the A1 etc. e to the AK. And this is what we are going to use in order to derive a finer estimate for the exponential. Okay. So, in the remaining 15-20 minutes, so let me just explain the plan we are going to do. Okay, again go back. So, suppose C inverse AC is equal to B, and this is suppose diagonal mu 1 mu 2 mu n. Okay. So, mu j's are real. Okay. In that case, let us try to see how these mu 1 mu 2 mu n are related to A. Okay. So, let us see that thing. So, if you write C in the as column, so let me write them as C1 Cn. So, these are columns of C, the matrix C, columns of C. Okay. Then, so you expand this thing, just expand this thing, you see that A C j is equal to mu j C j. So, j equal to 1 to n, and this you already seen. What does this mean? This means that each mu j is an eigenvalue, let me write E value of A with C j as the corresponding eigenvector. So, eigenvalue eigenvector. Okay. So, if at all we are going to if we wish to have such a thing, okay, and then what we should have is this eigenvalues of A have eigenvectors that generate the entire space R n. Okay. So, since this is non singular, the columns of C are linearly independent and form. So, since their number is n, form a basis for R n. Okay. And we see immediately examples where this is not true. So, a simple example. n equal to 2, this matrix 1 1 0 1, okay, 2 matrix has only one linearly independent eigenvector. So, you can easily check that. Okay. And since this is in R 2, we need 2 linearly independent eigenvectors to span the space, but this is not possible. So, what we call this matrix, this is not diagonalizable. Okay. So, this is okay. So, this is the terminology we use. This is not diagonalizable. Okay. And however, we show that every matrix A in M and R is block diagonalizable. So, we will explain what this means is block diagonalizable with simple diagonal blocks. This is what our aim is, and this leads to the so called Jordan canonical form, and we will explain now several steps that lead to this block diagonalization. Okay. So, again let me recall that. So, okay, so let again A belongs to M and R. Okay. So, the eigenvalues of A are the roots of the characteristic polynomial which is determinant of lambda I minus A. Okay. So, this polynomial is a real polynomial because we are taking A in M and R. So, real polynomial of degree n. Okay. Though this is a real polynomial, this excuse me, see the eigenvalues may be real or complex. Okay. So, that is another problem we have to deal with. Okay. So, the set of all eigenvalues of A is called spectrum of A and is denoted by spectrum of A. Okay, so just remember this notation, spectrum of A. Okay, let us start with something and see what are the problems. Okay, so let mu belongs to spectrum of A and mu real. Okay. Okay. So, then there is a real eigenvector I stress that real eigenvector, call it x in Rn such that Ax equal to mu x. There is no problem. Okay. So, what if mu is complex? Okay. And now suppose mu belongs to SPA, spectrum of A is non-real. Okay. So, that is mu is equal to A plus IB, I is square root of minus 1, it is a complex one, AB are real and importantly B is non-zero. Okay. So, in this case also there is an eigenvector, by definition every eigenvalue will have an eigenvector, but in this case it will be a complex eigenvector. So, mu has a complex eigenvector. Okay, so, let me call it again just like here we separate the real and imaginary parts. Let me write that. Okay, so, u1 and u2 are real vectors and we have this AU is equal to mu. Okay. And remember A is real. So, remember this is important, A is real. So, now we separate the real and imaginary parts. So, here you have use u equal to u1 plus I u2 and mu equal to A plus IB. So, let me write that u1 plus I u2 is equal to A plus IB u1 plus I u2. Okay. Now, you write separately the real part. So, real part. So, A u1 on the left side and on the right side I have A u1 plus rather minus B u2 and imaginary part A u2 is equal to A u2 plus B u1. you see u1 and u2 they are not eigenvectors, okay, but they do satisfy these relations, and you can check that u1 u2, now there are two vectors are real vectors, they are real vectors are linearly independent. So, this is what we want, okay. This is important, this is important. So, in case when mu is a real eigenvalue, we automatically get a real eigenvector, that is fine, and in case of a complex eigenvalue, we get two linearly independent vectors. They are not eigenvectors, but related to the eigenvector, okay, but they are real and are real, that is important. Okay. So, with this observation we will continue next time, and our main aim is to construct a basis for R n using the eigenvectors and some vectors like this and some more vectors that will come up in the next class. So, that is our main aim, and then we will see how to utilize that basis in order to estimate the matrix norm. Thank you.